of death. And we're coming to you live, of course, from Komfanoche Teaching Hospital, where Seth Kwame Boateng, on a trip to explore something else entirely, stumbled upon the tragic occurrence, the daily tragic occurrence of deaths at the maternity unit. 4 babies minimum die every day. And this is not because their conditions cannot be treated by the medical knowledge of the staff, but it's because there is no space. There is no space. So the facilities are simply unavailable. Mothers are dying because they have to queue for surgery. Now, this is a referral hospital, the second largest referral hospital in the country. 5 different regions refer their cases to Komfanoche Teaching Hospital. But when you get here, you might find yourself in a queue of death. Why? Because a 43-year-old project has still not been completed. $70 million, apparently, is all it's going to take to complete this project. But for 43 years, Ghana has not been able to raise $70 million to complete this project. Why? We'll find out. We'll speak to the contractors who are working on it. And we'll get them to explain to us what the reasons have been for the halt in progress. We'll find out from those who have been managing the national purse to find out why they have been unable to provide the funds for this to be completed. We will find out from mothers, fathers who have been through the trauma of this facility. We'll find out from them what exactly the cost has been to their lives of losing members of their family because they had to wait in a queue. This is the Super Morning Show. It's also the AM show. We'll be joining our colleagues on TV. Mama B. Owusu-Abuaje looking resplendent.
You're actually on TV.
Are we already on TV? Look at me, acting as if nobody can see me. Well, hello and good morning to our viewers on the JoyNews channel. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Kojo Yankson. I'm here from a car park in Komfanoche Teaching Hospital, where we have all important conversations to have. Mama B. Owusu-Abuaje is here. And so the AM show meets the Super Morning Show once again, right?
Definitely. 2 big shows coming together to resolve. Hopefully, we're praying. That's our prayer, really. That's what's on all of our hearts after watching that documentary yesterday, Next to Die. We really want to resolve this, but this is a bigger problem, really. So, you know, that's why we're having a national conversation on this. We want everybody to come on board so that we can resolve it. I watched the documentary twice, Kojo, yesterday. I couldn't believe it.
You're a strong woman. I couldn't watch it. I couldn't watch it once without getting a little bit emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, beyond the exemplary work of Seth Kwame Boateng, which is no surprise to anybody. I mean, Kwame always does these great documentaries that impact on society. But beyond that, there is something about hearing the staff who have worked under these horrifying conditions every day. I mean, that documentary that we went through once or twice in your case last night, and I mean, were so affected by, they go through this every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Every day. You come to work and you know that by the time you finish work and go home, 4 babies would have died. 4 families would have lost their children. Every day you go through this.
Yeah.
And the solution, well, it sits in the background as you drive home, 6 stories high, with nobody paying attention to it.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
I couldn't imagine that people queue and wait for their turn, even when the baby is coming. In cases where, you know, the facility is busy. But let's introduce our guest, Kojo. Let's hear from people who have gone through it. I guess somebody will say, oh, it's easy for you to talk about it. You only watched it. How about those who experienced it? So we have Mr. Ansah. He lost 2 babies and almost lost a 3rd, and his wife at the mother and baby units right here at the Komfanoche Teaching Hospital. We want to say good morning to you, Mr. Ansah.
Good morning.
Yeah. We also have Mrs. Arthur. Had her baby at the magazine clinic. The baby got burns at the magazine clinic, and then she had to come here. And because the place obviously choked, you know, had to go through in and out of the facility. Welcome to the program as well.
Thank you very much.
Can we hear you, first of all, explain to us, your baby got burns under what circumstance?
Yeah, I was, my second child, I gave birth to her here.
but the conditions I couldn't. So the third child I decided to have is at magazine clinic. I had the baby all right. The doctor in charge told the nurse, the assistant nurse, not to give the baby a bath. So when they had finished with the surgery and I was in the recovery room, I heard the baby still crying. So I asked them why the baby was crying like that, and the doctor said the baby could not suckle from the feeding bottle. And normally when a baby is not able to suck, it means that the child is sick. So my mom came in and found out that they sat under a ceiling fan with a baby. So she came to ask why this small child under the fan. I didn't know what was happening. They didn't tell me anything on the first day, but they told me the baby wasn't well, so they had brought him to the MBU at Confanochi. So Thursday, I had the surgery on Wednesday. Thursday evening, the doctor summoned me and said he had something to discuss with me. Normally, when I get pregnant, I get the gestational diabetes. So I thought that the baby had also gotten it. But the doctor said, no, the baby got bent. I said, why? What happened? Because I heard you tell the nurse not to give the baby a bath. I said, well, I don't know. The nurse gave the baby a bath and now the baby got bent. So I had not seen my baby since Wednesday. So Friday, meanwhile, I had gone through cesarean section. So Friday, I had to make my way to the MBU. So you could imagine, with all the stitches and everything on. So at dawn, I got up and came to the MBU. It was tears all over. I couldn't just open my eyes. I sat, when I got in, I asked the doctor, Dr. Planche, and she told me they had taken the baby to the Benz unit for dressing. So I waited. In about 30 minutes, I saw them pushing an incubator, and they showed me my baby. And the baby had been bandaged from neck to the waist, all arms bandaged, and had Vaseline all around over the head and the ear. So they took the baby in.
And this is how old? The baby at what age?
The very first day. This happened the very first day I gave her. So it was like second day after birth. Yeah. So I had to breastfeed the baby. I took the baby out and had to breastfeed him. Like I said, the place was just too much. Getting even a chair to sit on to breastfeed because mothers are there breastfeeding. Because of my condition and because the thing happened in a doctor, in the hands of a doctor who works at Confanochi, maybe I don't know whether that was the reason they were, I don't know what to say. Because like I was giving some professional treatment because the thing happened in the hands of a doctor who works here. So I had to breastfeed the baby. I had to stay throughout the day. There was nowhere to rest. I had to sit throughout. Sometimes when I'm tired, I had to just come in front to where the nurses sat to rest. You would have no place to lay your head. I had to be with the baby throughout. And the doctor said the baby had to be breastfed because of its condition. It has to be exclusive. So I waited, and you know, MB, you go there, in every 3 hours, you need to go there and breastfeed your baby. You go there, you use time to go there. But because of the condition, I could go in any time to breastfeed.
Tell us more about the condition. So tell us about where you were given, which space were you? Were you given a ward?
No, I wasn't. No, I didn't have a ward. I didn't have a bed.
So where were you?
I was coming to sleep at magazine clinic. I stayed till 12:30 midnight. Then I'll drive back to magazine clinic.
So while you are here, where did you stay?
I sat at where the nurses. I was just sitting there. But they told me to bring a mattress so that I could sleep better. There was no way I could sleep because mothers there already had no places to lay their heads. You couldn't have a shower. You couldn't urinate. So they allowed me to use the nurses. I used their washroom. You know, anytime you are coming out or you are going in the washroom, just at the corner of the washroom was where they kept dead babies.
They kept what?
Dead babies who were dead. They were wrapped in their cord sheets at the corner. When you are entering their bathroom at the corner, that's where they kept dead babies.
You are pointing downwards. I mean, were these babies just on the floor?
They were on a carton box, there was a box there, and they were wrapped in their cord sheets, and that was where the babies were kept on the floor. Yes, that was where they were kept.
And how would you feel each time you pass through and realize there were dead babies there?
Anytime I'm entering, I needed to stretch my neck to see if my baby was in the incubator before I entered. Anytime I was entering. I stayed there for 11 days, and all the 11 days, there was no way I could stay. I was moving in and out. I stayed till 12 midnight, sometimes 12:30, before I go to magazine clinic. And sometimes before I get there, their places are also locked up. I had to knock. And because of the situation, they designated a ward for me at magazine clinic. So I had one room to myself.
Because that's where the baby got bent?
Yes. Yes.
And you had also had a cesarean?
I had a cesarean. My stitches and everything were on. I had an abscess. So you could just imagine. When I had to eat, I needed to come down because I parked my car downstairs. I ate in my car. Then when I finished, I climbed upstairs just to sit there and wait. All I did was to sit down.
For 11 days?
Yes, for 11 days. I was at the MBU just to see if my baby could pull through. Yeah, it was hectic.
Now we hear about the difficulty with space for even the babies, and that very often they had to share cots. Did you see that?
Yes, sometimes you see 3, 4 babies in a cot. 3 and 4 babies. There was no way a baby was. My condition, I don't know whether it was because it was peculiar. I had 1 incubator to myself. My baby was sick, but the incubators were not working because the baby was not sick. The doctor said that they needed to segregate the baby so that it doesn't catch infection. And I had to sanitize my hands even before I could lift my baby up. So yes, there was not a single baby in one cot. The least you could find were 3 babies in a cot. Yes, the least. And
now there's a reason why this is important, because of course, as we learned from last night's documentary, babies are so susceptible to infection. In fact, that's why they're dying in such large numbers. You know, when they're born, they can catch things so easily from each other. Also, they move around a lot. So if you can imagine 3 babies in an incubator, some of them with oxygen breathing apparatus, moving around, before you know it, one baby grabs the oxygen breathing apparatus of another baby and pulls it out, and before someone can spot it, the baby, you know, suffocates and dies. This is what is happening on a daily basis in Komfo Teaching Hospital. We're going to learn more from Mrs. Arthur in a moment, but I want to introduce Mr. Ansah. Now, Mr. Ansah, first of all, good morning and thank you for coming. I think you're very brave, you know, for being able to join us to talk about this, because I can't imagine a worse tragedy. You lost 2 children here. Tell us about it.
Yeah, Kojo, for the meantime, I want to say good morning to your viewers and listeners. Yes, and the opportunity given to share my experience that I've had here at the Modern Baby Unit of Komfo Teaching Hospital. To start with, it was on 16th of February 2013 that she delivered of a baby girl.
That's your wife?
Yes, she delivered of a baby girl. And the weight of the baby was 4.5. So there was the need for, it was cesarean section. Yeah. So I was told to go out and then come back for about 3 hours time. So 3 hours time, see, MBU men are allowed to come to MBU to take care of their babies. So the first day that I went, I couldn't see my baby very well, to the extent that the court that was supposed to take about 3 babies, I had about 8 of them. So
including yours?
Yes, including my baby. So I started murmuring. So is that a situation here? So I went out that particular period while the baby was at the court. So I went to where my wife was, and I asked whether he has gone to see the baby. He said, no, he has not, because of the cesarean section. Right. The next day, only to be told that my baby has had an infection. So I did not understand that why an infection. So that is the situation here. So master, there is nothing that we can do unless we treat the infection. I said, well, I have no option than to accept.
So at this point, the baby was still sharing the cots with 7 other babies?
Yes, yes. And besides, they suspected that the baby may be diabetic because of the weight. That's what I was told. Yeah. So the baby may be diabetic. So the next day that I was told that the baby has had an infection. So there was the need for them to treat. So I was there every morning, every evening. So the 5th day, I asked the condition of the baby, and the doctor told me that there will be a possible discharge of the baby. So
the baby
that
was getting better.
It's getting better. So that very day that we were discharged, we came home. That midnight, I traveled, only to be told the next day that, gentleman, your baby is no more. So I couldn't believe it. So is that the case?
The baby died at home?
Yes, he died at home. So a gentleman in the house, the very day that we were discharged. So a gentleman took my baby to the hospital because of the situation that they saw at that particular midnight, because I was not available. If I were there, I would have taken my baby to the place. So the gentleman assisted, fine. So the baby died, so I had no option. God being so good, for record's sake, on 4th April 2014 was the second one. So I decided not to come to MBU again because of what I saw. I took the second one to Central Hospital. So that particular midnight as well, the first one was in the afternoon, but the second one, she was in labor at midnight. So when we went there, they told us that no, the tummy is too much, and for that matter, they can't. So we have to go back to Konfanochi Hospital.
How did you feel when they said that to you?
So to be frank, I was in a dilemma at that particular period. Should I go, or I should get to any other private hospital? Because what I saw at the mother and baby unit was very, very worrisome. So I took the baby to Konfanochi again, and it was a normal delivery, this time around, not a cesarean section. So they took the baby back to MBU again, so I told myself again, and the weight was 4.5 again. As I said earlier, they always do suspect that 4.5, the baby may be diabetic, yeah. So the same problem, the baby was there. That was the first time that I saw bed bags, where the baby's cot, that I saw the bed bags. So I said, wow. So do you have bed bags here? That it means that we are not safe in this hospital.
And this time around, was your baby in a cot alone, or
no,
still sharing?
No, they're still sharing.
How many babies in a cot this time?
This time around, it was 6. And it's a cot which is supposed to take 3 babies. And you see, each baby carries its own bacteria, and it's easy for a baby to affect the rest of the babies. So the first day, the second day, the third day, I was told again that your baby has had an infection. So why is there always an infection? So initially, I thought it was negligence on the part of the staff there. But later I realized that no, the place is very choked. That was never the case. What I thought was the reverse of that. Because, you see, about 100 babies in a room. How can the same nurses treat the babies simultaneously? I mean, that is impossible. So a drug was prescribed for me. I want to buy every day. For drugs, it's normal for you to buy for the baby, for them to use it to treat the baby. And I think a week or so, I was discharged again. So when we came home, there was the need for us to come to review. A date was given. So that very day, the day before the review, I realized that the temperature of the baby was very high. So the next day we took the baby to the hospital and we were admitted again. For the second one I was there, I watched my baby die because she couldn't breathe very well. And I went back home because men are not allowed to be there for a certain period of time.
Well, when you say apologies, I know that you're going through a lot by, sharing this incident that nobody ever wants to remember if it happened to them. But when you say you watched your baby die, can you explain, as in you were there, the baby was in the courts and the baby couldn't breathe?
No, they took the baby from that particular, I think they have different rooms, high and then low, yes, high and low. So they took the baby to high, and then he was given one quart because of her condition. He was given one quart. And I watched her die because the breathing was not the best at all. So I was told, at a certain period of time, I was told, gentlemen, this time around, you cannot be here because there are ladies here. So you have to leave these premises, only to be told at midnight that particular day that, hey, gentlemen, again, your baby is no more.
We're going to find out what happened after losing 2 children at Komfo Teaching Hospital, what the Ansah family went through when God blessed them with a 3rd pregnancy, and again, they were referred to Komfo. Stay with us, there's even more to learn. Right here on the Super Morning Show and the AM Show, coming to you live on the Joy News channel and of course on Joy 99.7 FM. We're going to take the Joy Business Report and a few reports here on Joy News channel. And when we come back, even more from Komfo Teaching Hospital. But first, a message from Access Bank.
Last year, 2016, we had 91 women dying as a result of pregnancy and complications in Komfo. There's no reason why any woman should get pregnant, walk into a hospital to deliver, and then lose her life as a result. It's pathetic.
If you have the best of skills, but you are overwhelmed with the load of work, then errors would come. And through that, sometimes babies will die.
A fifth of the babies who come in will end up dying. So that would try, maybe what? On a bad day, we can lose 6, 7 babies. We've had days when we've lost as many as 10 in a day.
Papa, Yeah, more me back with back with that one. We could you not bet you a better one. I got one tomorrow win any money now. And then go ahead and no quite something I mean, say, stop rocket to our baby that or ya real. And so, and don't come power. That's how they are for frog girl. Now, don't more women, now remember. A best than a crown when you're more day. A planning you're more day. And see how you want to you want to chill.
As you can see, we have only 2 beds. So, unfortunately, if we have more than 2 patients delivering at the same time, it means that one person has to deliver elsewhere. At times, we have patients delivering on the floor because the place will be full. The patient will come in second stage, and that you need to conduct the delivery on the ground.
And what could be the effect of that?
The effect is the infection. The baby can be infected, the mother can be infected, and aside that, there will be other complications like bleeding.
A facility to deal with this crisis has been abandoned for decades.
It started in 1974 by the then President Ignatius Kutu Ashampron as the president. Along the way, it stopped and revived in some time, but unfortunately, as financial status of the building is so high, we were not able to complete it. Every government comes, they want to do it, but it has never been completed.
Who will end these avoidable deaths? Any leader willing to say, this project will be completed under my watch? Join me as I tell you more in this documentary titled, Next to Die. Pregnancy is a beautiful thing for many women.
I am very pregnant. Very, 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 very pregnant. And I can deliver right now. The thought of bringing a human being into the world, only that makes you excited. So I think God must be proud at the point when he was creating human beings, because even us, when you're about to deliver or you're pregnant, the way you're happy and excited about it, it means that God must be really excited when he was creating man.
Meet 27-year-old Natasha Asare Bajama. This is her first pregnancy and she's overly anxious to see her baby.
And sometimes I wake up at dawn and I just imagine my baby crying. And I sometimes hear it. Yeah, I sometimes hear my baby cry. And I try to cuddle my baby imaginarily.
You can't wait for that day to come.
At all. At all. Since 36 weeks. Hi. I've just been dreaming and hoping, waiting, just to have my baby in my arms. And you know, the moment you deliver, the midwives just, after receiving your baby, puts your baby on you like that. So I'm just imagining that when they do that, I won't give the baby back to them for them to clean, wash, or whatever they go and do. No. I think when I see that thing, I'm like, I'm fulfilled.
The 9-month journey has not been a smooth one.
Especially these last days. Because I'm like, oh God, let this thing just happen. 36 weeks has passed. Every time I have these contractions, I'm like, okay. Contractions have started. So my baby is coming. And then it will just vanish. And then I'll be so angry. Why did you go? Come back, let me deliver. But I think for about twice or 3 times, I've cried in bed, waiting for my baby to happen, and it's not happening.
All pregnant women like Natasha wish for a safe delivery. They would want to be attended to at well-resourced facilities where delivery is safe for both mother and baby. In the northern sector of Ghana, spanning from the Ashanti region through to Brong Ahafo to the 3 regions of the north and even part of central and western regions, the Komfo Teaching Hospital is the best bet for most pregnant women. All complications are referred to this hospital. Unfortunately, the lack of facilities to support delivery at the hospital still make Komfo Teaching Hospital one of the deadliest places to deliver.
It's because our delivery suite has only 8 beds. And consider that everybody wants to come to Komfo to deliver. So there are times they come and all the beds are occupied. And if all the beds are occupied, it means you have to be in a queue outside. And you are called in as and when beds become available. It's pathetic. Deliver? Yes. It's pathetic, but that's what's happening.
Professor Bafo Opoku is a consultant obstetrician gynecologist at the Komfo Teaching Hospital. He has witnessed many worrying happenings here at this facility.
Sometimes you'll be inside and then all you hear is Mami Obo, then it means she's in the 2nd stage and you have to give priority to her. If there is no available bed inside, then the midwives will have to deliver her in the corridor.
Really?
Oh yes. That's a problem we are having.
It is indeed a big problem if this is the situation in Ghana's 2nd biggest hospital, which serves about 5 different regions. The doctors and nurses here describe the situation as a helpless one. For further confirmation, I am ushered to the maternity ward of the hospital to see the number of pregnant women waiting to be called to the labor ward. It is a highly congested ward packed with expectant mothers. Doctors and their nurses are busily attending to them in an attempt to soothe their pain. The worst of it all is that many of these fully pregnant women share beds. In some instances, 2 of them share a single bed, and in other cases, 2 beds have been joined to accommodate 3. You are in pain, and the last thing you would want to experience is the slightest form of discomfort. But these women have to endure this. There's another worrying reality. Some of the women are in labor, but they would have to hold on until the labor rooms are free. Being told to hold on is only tantamount to cheating nature. But how possible or easy is that? Those who cannot will give birth on the floor, and that has serious consequences.
And it's not the best because you have to be in a particular position to ensure effective, safe delivery. So assuming the woman is standing and the baby just drops onto the ground, apart from the baby sustaining injuries, the mother will also sustain what we call genital tract injuries. So the complications increase as they wait in the corridor.
So even though they came here for safe delivery, they may not have that.
They may not have the safe delivery. And we do our best to try and mitigate the effects. So that's a problem.
25-year-old Hannah Zuma finds herself in this situation. She is one of the many pregnant women having to tarry for their turn to deliver. In spite of the pain, she tries to cover up with a smile. Hannah wishes she is called to the delivering room in the next second to deliver.
I am waiting to be taken to the labor ward. It is painful to wait. My body hurts, my abdomen hurts. I just don't know what to do. I don't even know yet when they'll come and take me to the labor ward. There's nothing I can do about this situation. I'm just hoping that by 1 p.m. I would have been taken there to have my baby and leave this place.
It is indeed a pathetic situation, and there appears to be nothing doctors and nurses here can do about it. They are always compelled to stand on their feet from dawn to dusk in the attempt to ensure the safety of these women and their unborn babies. Dr. Edu Apiakubi, obstetrician gynecologist, is one of the many doctors here frustrated by the congestion and its effects.
is all about Next to Die, the special assignment put together by the JoyNews team, and Seth Kwame Boateng, of course, being the main point man on that. But listen, this was all to reveal to Ghana an ongoing problem here at our second largest referral hospital in the country, where a minimum of 4 babies die every single day because of a lack of space. That's on a good day, 4 babies die. This, of course, cannot stand, and so today we want to be part of the solution as we start to get into conversations that will result in the stem or to this horrifying flow of death. Now, of course, we've just had on Joy 99.7 FM the Joy Business Report. It was brought to us at 8 a.m. by the kindness of CalBank, Bank on Our Service, Zip TV, Live Your Life, Vanguard Assurance, they always stand by you, and Lele, tasty food, happy family. Now, of course, let me tell you a little bit about CalBank. They're encouraging us all to do it all on our phones by simply dialing *771#. Now, with the CalBank mobile banking service, once you dial *771#, you can pay your bills, you can transfer funds between your mobile money wallets and your CalBank account. You can also pay third-party vendors and check your account balance, as well as purchase mobile phone credit and change your PIN and so much more. This is all because of the *771 service, and of course you can just dial that and follow the steps, or visit your nearest CalBank branch and sign on for more information. You can contact them on customer care at calbank.net, that's their email address, or you can call them on 0302 68 0061. So there you go, CalBank, Bank on Our Service. And of course, the success story of Vanguard Assurance shows that the Ghanaian is capable of reaching any heights by the grace of God. Now, your first and indigenous insurance company, Vanguard Assurance, is now the only Hall of Fame insurer in Ghana, and they have also won the Most Supportive Insurance Broker Award. As we celebrate our 60th anniversary, Vanguard Assurance wants to remind you not to say insurance, say Vanguard Assurance. Now listen, everyone needs sound financial advice in order to help you gain for that future that you've been planning for. Well, thank goodness for Macaulay Capital, because they are offering Mac Trust, an open-ended balanced fund designed to pool funds from investors and invest in equities and fixed income securities. Now, with a minimum contribution of 20 Ghana cedis, you can create significant wealth. They've designed other investment products to suit the specific needs of each individual and group. Macaulay Capital is the best place to seek investment advisory services to help you create and manage your wealth. So just knock on the door of Macaulay Capital at number 9 Bloem Street in Jowolu, Accra, or call them on 0302-982-959 and grow your wealth. You can also visit macaulay.com to learn more. Macaulay Capital is your investment authority. Now, I'm very pleased also to say a very big thank you. This special assignment, Next to Die, and the trip that brought us here is brought to you by Macaulay Money Lending, the nation's preferred lender. Not only them, but also our friends here in Kumasi at Golden Tulip Kumasi City Hotel. This is still the standard for hospitality here in the Ashanti region, and they're waiting to welcome you with international standards and local flavors. Go to goldentulipkumasicity.com to learn more. Now, listen, do you have it? Of course, I'm talking about that one app which gives you over 1,000 channels like NBC, CBS, Fox, ABC, Adum TV, and so many more, with over 21 Hollywood studio partners. Get served with only the best TV shows, sports, movies, and series like Empire, The Blacklist, all on one platform. Download the free Zip TV app and sign up between March 6 and April 6 and enjoy 1 month of free subscription. Zip TV, live your life. There's so much more to come on the Super Morning Show and the AM Show as we come to you live from Komfanoche Teaching Hospital. We have set up camp here in the car park of the oncology department, and all around us are evidence of the reasons why we're here. To my left, if you were to pan up a little bit, you'll see a little corner of the mother and baby unit at Komfanoche Teaching Hospital. This is the location of all of these tragic occurrences that have led us here today, while staff work night and day in an attempt to save lives of mothers and babies. Unfortunately, a simple factor such as the lack of space, is fighting against their best efforts, resulting in at least 4 babies dying every single day. That's 4 babies minimum. To my right, you can see what the hospital considers to be the solution to this problem. Not that it will mean that no baby will ever die ever again, but it will certainly mean that no baby will die because of a lack of space. And there is a lot of space in this solution. It is a 6-story block conceived by General Achampong, if you can imagine it, in 1974. 43 years ago, somebody thought of solving the problem we're facing today and set up this structure. But 43 years later, the structure is not complete. No government has found the money to complete it. And you'll be shocked at how little it'll take to complete it. We'll be hearing from the contractors later on the show, and many others who will help to fill in the gaps of this all-consuming story. But of course, we're here on TV on the Joy News channel. We're on Joy 99.7 FM. Don't forget to use the hashtags JoySMS, hashtag AM Show, but most importantly, hashtag Finish This Now. We're here for solutions. And Mamavi, of course, during the break, we had several very personal moments with our guests as we started to get to the bottom of the reality of their tragic experiences, didn't we?
Yeah. And I was just telling Madam Arthur, who's here with us, who shared the story of her baby being referred to the Confanoche Teaching Hospital after a cesarean section, and I've had 2. And you can imagine, after having an experience like that, because the very early days, you're not supposed to do anything active. You know, you're just supposed to take it easy on yourself. But to refer to a facility where at the time the lift wasn't even working and she had to use the stairs. Madam Martha, how far from the down to the very top?
Yeah, I think the MBU is on the, I don't know, it's on the last floor. So you have to, it's about
4 or 5 stories, yeah.
4 stories.
Fresh cesarean session, climbing the stairs because your child is on admission.
Yes, because my child was on admission, so I had to, there was nothing I could do than to climb up there to see to my baby.
And I'll bet you had to do it several times in a day, right?
Yeah, when I went there in the morning, I never came down. The only time I came down was to come and eat because I had parked my car down there. So the only time I came down was to come and eat. After eating, I stayed there till 12 to 12:30 midnight before I go back to Magazine Clinic, where I said that they had designated a room for me because of the situation. So I stayed there the whole day. And when I was leaving in the evening, I had to express breast milk because I was supposed to be there every 3 hours to breastfeed the baby. But because there was no place for me to lay my head, I had to express some breast milk down there. So that anytime the baby needed to be fed, the nurses would feed the baby. So at 12:30, I left the MBU to my sleeping place, that's Magazine Clinic. Then as early as 5:30, I am back because I had my badge on to show that I am an inpatient. Yeah, so they allowed...
An inpatient who couldn't sleep.
Who couldn't sleep. Yes, I had my badge on. So anytime I came in, they allowed me in at 5:30. And the first thing I do when I get to the MBU is to stretch my neck to see if my baby was in the incubator. Because like I said, the nurses allowed me to use their washroom. And as soon as you enter on the right side on the floor, you see dead babies wrapped.
How many babies would you normally see in there?
I could see 4 at a time. Yes, I saw 4. 4. You could see 4 babies wrapped in a cot sheet on the floor. So anytime I was entering, I made sure that I stretched to see if my baby was in the incubator.
If your baby is not in the cots, possibility
means that
the baby in that box where they keep dead babies very high.
I suppose the trauma of this is something that we haven't really explored in depth, because Mama V, you can well imagine that those 4 babies wrapped up in that box represent 4 mothers, just like Mrs. Arthur, who would have woken up that morning just praying that their child will get better so they can go home. But unfortunately, their destiny was to have their child wind their way into a box next to the washroom. The trauma of this is something that I'm sure we can't even measure with our best efforts. But of course, also with us here today is Mr. Ansana. Mr. Ansana has a story that has broken so many hearts this morning. You should see what's happening on social media as people react to the story of Mr. Ansana, who unfortunately went through the ordeal of losing his baby at the MBU, not once, but twice. And each time for the same reason. The congestion resulted in infection, which resulted in death. And there was nothing he could do about it. A father whose number one instinct is to protect your children, you could do nothing to save your children from this unfortunate fate. And then God decided to test you one more time and blessed you and your wife with another pregnancy. And then they said, take it back to Komfo-Anokye. How did you react?
I don't know, but would you, if you were for the third time?
I genuinely have to tell you that I would have pulled every stop. I would have done everything within my physical power to ensure I don't come back.
Mrs. Arthur, if you found yourself in that situation, because you've been here before, would you do it again?
I wouldn't. I'll look for a private hospital, no matter how much it will cost me, because it's the same doctors who work here who are working in the private hospitals. So I wouldn't come here.
But you understand that this is like the last stop?
Yeah, this is it. But I think when they are in the private hospitals, they are equally doing well there. They do well there. Unless maybe the situation is something that they cannot handle. That's why you'll be referred, especially like my case.
Well, that is the theory, that by the time you are sent here, it's because this is the only place where you can be treated properly. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Ansah, round the table, it appears none of us would have come back. But what did you do?
We'll come to that. Just to also say that we're live on the Super Morning Show. This is the Super Morning Show, really,
it is, actually,
on Joy FM. We're also on the AM show on the Joy News channel. And our being in Kumasi, which is an amazing place, by the way, is courtesy McOtley Money Lending.
And Golden Tulip, Kumasi.
Yeah, that's good for you.
Okay, so let's get back into this. And of course, only you can imagine. Only you can tell the reality of it. Third pregnancy. And then the doctors say to you, Mr. Ansah, we have to refer you to Komfo-Anokye.
Yes, Kojo. Initially, I vowed never to come to Komfo-Anokye again. That is what I thought. So, for the third pregnancy, I told her to attend antenatal at Central Government Hospital. So he used to attend. So the very day that she was in labor, unfortunately, it was midnight again. So we went to Central Government Hospital, and the nurses told us that, gentlemen, doctors are not available at this particular period, and for that matter, and because of the previous history, we have to refer you to Komfo-Anokye. My brother, to be frank, I nearly fell. A gentleman even assisted me. So why me? The pain, the trauma, the agony, the wahala that we've been through again. So they called an ambulance for the ambulance to come and pick us.
What was your wife's reaction?
Because the reaction was that there was nothing she could do, because hers was just screaming. She couldn't talk, she couldn't do anything that period.
So at this time the baby was coming?
Yes, the baby was. So they had to rush to the maternity ward of Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital. So I followed them to the maternity ward area. So unlike the first one where she queued for about 20 minutes while the baby was coming, screaming, she had to queue for the second one before they took her to the maternity ward. This time around, that was not the case, because it was a referral Yes, so immediately they rushed her to the maternity ward. So the doctors told us to come back home, and then in the morning we come and find out. So in the morning I came, I went to the ward, she was there, and then I asked, where is the baby? She said, the baby is at MBU again.
Was this a C-section or this was natural delivery?
No, it was a normal delivery. So I went back to the MBU. Again, it was 4.5, the weight. So 4.5, as said earlier, they always do suspect that the baby may be diabetic. And the same, they were in a court, the same baby's court, with about 8 babies again. A court which is supposed to take 3 babies. It took 8 babies. The following day, I asked of the condition of the baby, and the doctor told me, oh, master, due to previous history, you see, this time around, your baby is very, very well. So there will be a possible discharge today for you. I said, wow, thank you very much. So in the evening around 4 or 5, because I left, when I came, I was told again that, gentlemen, your daughter has had an infection. I said, so it means I can't go home? They said, yes, you can't go home. The infection needs to be treated. Otherwise, anything can happen to your baby. So I had no option than to accept. Besides, the mother, because of the stress, the experience that the mother has had there at the MBU, she also had an infection as well. I think that was the 3rd day. So when I came the following day in the morning, I couldn't see her very well. She looked pale. I mean, the demeanor was not the best. So she was admitted. So you can see the mother is being admitted, the baby as well being admitted. So they wrote a medicine for me to buy for the baby, and at the same time, the wife. So I came down to buy the medicine. To be frank, Kojo,
and we sincerely apologize you're having to relive this rather sad experience. This is 3rd time referral to Komfo-Anokye, and the experience is almost the same. The narration is the same. I don't know how you feel, Mrs. Arthur, when you hear, Mr. Ansah share this experience that he's had to relive. This is the 3rd time.
Okay.
Sorry. I
Yes,
apologize.
yes. I will. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
How does it make you feel?
All right.
I'm already in tears because I know what Mr. Ansah, I felt it. Though my baby, I did not lose my baby. Are you sure
you're
But anytime I went back to magazine clinic, like I said, all I said was to cry and pray. I was just praying that I don't lose this child because I went through a lot to give birth to this baby. So I know how it feels.
Are you sure you're okay to continue?
Oh yeah, I will. Yeah, I will.
We're here with you.
So I went down to buy the drug for the mother and the baby. So when I was climbing the steps, I was in a dilemma. I was being torn apart. Where should I go first? Should I attend to the mother first, or I should attend to the baby first? So there was the need for me to go to where the baby was. So when I went, my baby was not in the court. So I started shivering. So what is wrong? Is it the case that this one is also no more? So one of the nurses told me that he's with one of the doctors. He mentioned the name. So I went. And the doctor told me gentlemen, you need to be very careful, extra careful about the baby. So I asked the doctor why, and she said the breathing is not the best, and for that matter, you should be extra careful. You need to be vigilant, otherwise things may not be.
You need to be
best.
vigilant. It's not like you're a doctor.
Yes, that's why you told me.
So
that I have to be very careful about that baby. Yes, on that baby.
What did he want you to do specifically?
I don't know, because that is not my field. I did not know what he meant by that. So, you see, the mother and baby unit, men are not allowed to stay there for a particular period of time. But because of what actually happened in the previous history, they allowed me till about 10 p.m. or so, because the mother has been admitted, the baby has been admitted. What will you do? So I had no option than to give the drug and then go back home for them to. So they knew what actually has happened. So they told me I shouldn't worry. They would tell the nurses there to take care of her very well for me. So the following day I came, and then to be frank, when I wake up in the morning, I think a lot of things went through my mind. That, so is my baby alive? That was what I thought. So at the entrance of the MBU, I think it was not time for even men to enter. But the security men, I think they did very well. I have to recommend that because of what I've gone through. So it's like I have become a customer at MBU. Why is it that my baby always die at this particular place? Kojo, all was due to lack of space. I thought it was negligence on the part of the doctors and the nurses. But initially I thought that that was not the case. Kojo, behind me, look at this building. The building that we use taxpayers' money to build, it belongs to me. Kojo, it belongs to you. Well, I have lost 2 of my babies. So who will be next? Who will be the next baby to die? So where is that money that they are supposed to use to complete this building? Because lack of space. Kojo, because our sisters are dying. Our nephews and nieces are dying at the mother and baby unit. And it's not supposed to be so. So I will appeal to the big men in court. I will appeal to them that whatever needs to be done for this building to be completed, they should at least put their heads together and then find antidote to this particular situation. Kojo, how my daughter and my wife got well, to me, I would say it's divine. I would describe the situation as paranormal, as something supernatural, because I thought I would lose the 2 of them. By God being so good, when we were discharged, we kept an eye, especially on the baby, because at that time the mother was well. We kept an eye on the baby seriously, and every time that we are supposed to come to review, we did not delay at all. We came, and then drugs were prescribed, we went to buy. But God being so good, for now, they are alive.
And your baby just turned 1 recently?
Yes, that was 22nd February. Yes, last month. Yes.
How does it feel?
She had a year.
How does it feel after 2 deaths in the family to finally be a father? When you look at your 1-year-old, how do you feel?
Kojo, it's very pity. Very, very pity. Sometimes when we are in the room and we are discussing 1 or 2 issues, and then this issue even through scene, it becomes, I think that day you find it even very difficult to even eat, because it's something that we don't even want to mention. When I was caught by JoyNews to come and share my experience, to be frank, it was not easy for me to come.
Because your wife didn't want to allow you to talk about this?
Yes, at all.
Because she doesn't ever want to remember again?
At all. The MBU, even when coming to town, she doesn't want to pass even the roundabout of this hospital. She even, if there had been a different way, shorter than that, she would have passed that year. She doesn't want to, because how could you? 9 months, pregnancy. I mean, the toil that women are going through. I mean, it's not easy.
But you watched Seth Kwame Boateng's documentary, The Special Assignment, The Reason We're Here Today, Next to Die. Did your wife watch it with you?
Yes, she did.
What did she say? What she recognized some of the scenes in this documentary?
Oh, yes, she did. Anytime, especially when they showed where the women, where they were sleeping, where they slept. Yes, especially that particular place. She said, this area, you see, there are bed bugs, mosquitoes, even the bathhouse, according to her, the bathhouse, very unpleasant. I mean, the stench there is not the best. Sometimes she had to come down, take a bath, even to the extent that where to ease herself even becomes a problem. She has to come down, get to somebody's house very close to the hospital, especially at Bantama here, to ease herself before she comes back, to the extent that she takes her bath there, and then she comes back to that particular place. And aside, she also made mention of the room, I think the low room.
Right, we've got so much to talk about, and of course, Mama V, we have some new guests to help us further the conversation, don't we?
Yes, we do. But whilst we have continued to have this conversation at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital, remember the hashtag we're using on social media is finish this now. We want to see this finished.
And by this, we mean this. The massive structure that was started 43 years ago. But for some reason, this country has been unable to find the money to finish it.
Let's talk about a man who is very familiar with this structure. He's also the Director General Ghana Health Service. He's a former CEO of the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital. Here with us this morning, representing the Health Minister, who couldn't be here, but who is also very passionate about this project, Dr. Anthony Nsiasare. We're grateful you could make it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We also have Professor Acha Tepin, who's head of Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology here at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital and the School of Medical Sciences, KNUST. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Professor Emmanuel Ado-Yobo is head of Department of Child Health, Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital and the School of Medical Sciences, also right here at KNUST. Thank you, sir, for being here.
Thank you very much.
And finally, we have Dr. Oheneba Owusu-Danso, head of Plastic Surgery, also here at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital. So we have all of you. Good morning to you. We're grateful.
Now, Dr. Nsiasare, I would have asked you whether you're aware of this, but you used to be CEO here, so no doubt you are.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good morning to the viewers and listeners. Yes, I'm very much aware of this. Maybe I'll go into history. This structure was started in 1974 by General Kutu Achampong. And I want to also add quickly that the structure that Kutu Achampong started was not supposed to be this magnitude. He laid the foundation, cut the sword, and then it's supposed to have been continued. So in 1974, that's about 43 years ago, if it would have been done and money would have been allocated well for it, in terms of budgetary allocation, we won't be here talking about the structure. Then it was abandoned after the coup, after the first fourth parliamentary government from 92 to 96 to 2000. And I remember very well that in 1999, during the J.J. Rawlings' time, Lieutenant J.J. Rawlings' time, I think there was some budgetary allocation. And this part that we see here, which we call the maternity block, was then started. The foundation was laid, and the structure that we see here was only on the first floor. I came in May 2001 during the Kufuor's administration. And luckily for us, the then minister is a product from this place. It's a product of SMS. He worked in the hospital. He was in the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology. I'm talking about Dr. Richard Winfred Anane. So he called me to his office. We sat down, and his concern was that we should finish this building as quickly as possible. And I remember I was staying at Bantima, so I used to pass behind here, and I knew that there was a structure there, as the lady said. We didn't even know what the structure was supposed to be. So we sat down. And that time there was mass congestion at the labor ward, and especially at the Mothers Babies Unit, MBU. And when I talk about this congestion, I'll talk about other things. You should look at it holistically. It's not only the building. I don't believe that building can stop four children dying every day. It's a lot of processes which goes in. There should be a whole holistic approach to the whole system, which I'll give policy directives later on when I finish my statement. So we sat down. AESL is a consultant, and the contractor was SK Menu and Sons. And later on, CMain, they formed CMain. So SK Menu and Sons and CMain. So we approached AESL, sat down in my office, and then we gave the concept that we want this place to be. The whole idea was that when we came in, we said Komfo is going to be a center of excellence of international standards. And we were also dreaming with a vision was that we have different centers. So we're then also thinking about accident and emergency center. So it will be a separate center. The mother and child's block or maternity and children's block will be also a separate center. And then we leave the old G block to be medical and surgical center. And we're even thinking about the management style. There will be 3 medical directors, and then the chief executive and his management will be there. So that there will be 3 main medical directors in the hospital, which the law also permits. So we expanded it. And then we asked the consultants if this old building, that the foundation was already laid, if it can take another floor. So if you look at it very well, it's 5 floors. If you take the British style, or American style is 5 floors, British style is 4 floors. And then we also realized that OPD, which is here, also cannot contain what we want to do, because this place is a teaching hospital. So we teach, we do clinical services, and we do research. So we wanted to have space for our consultants and our doctors to have space to sit and do proper research and also teach the students. We're thinking about the SMS medical students, that there's a lot of congestion. You see, we talk only about patients, but this hospital is a teaching hospital. If you go to the ward now, you see one consultant being followed by about 20 students. When I was a medical student, we were only about 5 in a team. So our consultant, who were about 2, can take 2, and then the 3rd person will join another team. And we were taught. We did hands-on. That's what we wanted to do, so that we have enough space for our students also to learn. And then those who are doing medicine and surgery can also have enough space in the old block. So we said, okay, let us add another floor if it will take it. And we also said that we want the mothers who come to see the babies come with their mothers. So we also added another wing here. So every floor has, when the lady was speaking, that they don't have any space to sleep. But every floor in this block will have a space for the mother or for the carer who comes with the patient. And then the maternity wing.
What capacity?
The capacity for the total block will be about 975. We can make 1,000 beds.
1,000 beds?
1,000 beds. And I kept it to myself, because if you tell anybody, it will be the biggest hospital in Ghana, in West Africa, and I'm sure even the whole of Africa. So we always kept it that, oh, it's a small base, 300 and 400 and this thing. But we wanted the project to go on. And at that time, Dr. Nane and myself sat down, and we earmarked that there's going to be Spanish protocol money, which is about $43 million or $50 million. And the whole idea was to use the Spanish protocol to finish this building. Latest by 2002, 2003, we'll have finished.
So what went wrong?
I'm coming. The maternity wing, the tall building, the 6th floor, 7th floor, which is the other side, was non-existent. There was no foundation at all. So the first 2001, 2002, we used budgetary allocation and then went up to about the 5th floor of this side. And then we realized we have to negotiate with the military. You know, military doesn't leave its land. They told us that if you leave something for you free, it means they've lost. So we negotiated with them. So in 2002, the budgetary allocation which came, we used it to go and relocate the military and built a 12-block classroom block for them at the military complex behind Prempeh College.
Is that to say that this structure is sitting on a military land?
You know, this whole land was a government land. The military is just rightly behind us, but they are no more here. They are the barracks at the complex, that so to say. But they're still occupying places here. They had schools here and everything. So it was a military land. So we negotiated with them and moved them, and then we started even acquiring the whole of the military land to achieve our vision. So in 2002, unfortunately, Dr. Anane was reshuffled and you went to Roads and Highways. I'm sure you know about that. Mm-hmm. And the new minister came. And you know, in the Ministry of Health, it's a tough game. Every agency goes there to fight and then negotiate and lobby for whatever you get. So I went to see the new minister and said, Mr. Minister, the Spanish protocol, which has been signed, the money was coming, is supposed to be for Konfanochi Maternal and Child Health Block. We called the person who was supposed to be the director there, because I sat down with that person who is a lady, and also, I won't mention the name here, and then Dr. Anane. He said, oh, no. We are supposed to use it for equipment. Konfanochi cannot take all the money.
This lady is the new minister that took over?
No, he's not a new minister. Okay. He was a director, actually. So the new minister was a man.
Director of the Ministry of Health.
So who was the new minister?
The minister was Dr. Kwakwe Friye.
That's right.
Yeah, but he has come in. So we have to negotiate, and they said that, no, we will use the Spanish protocol for the whole country for retooling. It was agreed at the meeting.
So the money was diverted
so I lost out.
To another purpose?
No, the money was coming, and we wanted to use the money specifically for this hospital.
Yes, but it was diverted to another purpose.
Where divert is a...
It was... Well, everybody is lobbying.
No, if you say divert, it's a bit of a harsh word. Oh, no. I would say that people lobbied, and it was shared across the whole country, which is also good, because we are retooling.
Okay, but
the mother and baby unit remained uncompleted because the money earmarked for it
I'm coming.
If the mother reassigned
the mother and baby unit
purpose.
That time could have been completed, but we didn't complete, but we continuously use budgetary allocations from the Ghana government. So budgetary allocations in 2001, 2002, up to 2008 was always forthcoming. And that is why you see this building here.
But was there a commitment to see to the end of it? So that, did you see it as a project with allocated funds specific for this, so that even if there was a change, nobody could come lobby for the same money that you were targeting at finishing this project?
You see, in the health or hospital projects are very capital intensive. So if you want to use Ghana government budgetary allocations, it takes some time. That's the reason why we use other funds or loans. So if you are going for a loan, you specifically said, okay, I'm going for this loan for this project. What Dr. Anani and myself were trying to do was to vie the loan for this project, because it was already thought of before he took over as a minister. I think you understand me. So the original plan was actually for equipment, but we wanted to finish this, and then we can use the second Spanish protocol for the equipment. But they said, okay, let's use this one for what it's supposed to be, and then later on we find money for it. But we didn't stop there. We continuously, as management, lobbied for our share of the budgetary allocation. And I remember very well when we were 50 years as Konfanochi, President Kufuor then came here, and in his speech, I intentionally put it in that he should say he will finish this block and commission it before he goes. And he said it.
But that didn't happen.
We followed it up. So for the first time, we got a huge sum of money to finish this block, but it was not sufficient to finish the block.
Which year is this?
That was in 2006, 2007.
And how much did you get?
That was, we were supposed to have about 5 million, but you know when you send budgets, it's a budgetary cash analysis. So we had the first tranche of 2.5 million. And I'm happy to say that that was the money which have been used to finish what we see here.
Would 5 million have completed it?
No. You know, there are two things that you do when you are building a hospital. The construction aspect and the equipping and what you call M&E, that's mechanical and engineering aspect of it. That's where the money comes from. What is left in this building is mainly the M&E and the equipping. And that's where the sum of the money comes from. When we are doing any project like that, 30% of the cost is only for construction. 70% of the cost is in the M&E and the equipping. So that is, if you get money for this, they will finish it. But my problem is that, you see, even the small allocations or the budget allocation which you use to reach this stage, if it would have been continued from 2009, we won't be at where we are today. But I can tell you, maybe the chief executive can tell us if there's any money which came in to continue this building after NPP government left the power.
Dr. Nsiansari, I mean, pardon me for cutting in. I do want us to hear from our other guests as well. But more importantly, I don't want us to do politics with this at all. As we're speaking, babies are dying. So let's try to stay on the issues and not politicize it, because what I am interested in is whether or not at any point somebody earmarked, like Mama V is saying, earmarked an amount and said, look, this thing must be finished, this is how much it will cost, here is the money. Did that ever happen? Or did the hospital continue to just attempt to keep going out of your budgetary allocation?
The hospital, we earmark funds every year for the budgetary allocation. You see, I cannot complete my statement by not saying that since 2009, no money has been allocated. That's why I'm saying that, you see, Ghana government has a lot of things to do. So if you want to finish a project, which is not loans, then you have to, as a government or as anybody in authority, to put budgetary allocations for it, and then hoping that within the next 2-3 years it will finish. We are all not, you see, the reason why I'm saying is that you see, it was a commitment which was made by President Kufuor, and I was part of our policy statement and policy documents in health. This building, we are committed to finish it within this term of this NPP government. And maybe people don't know, only last week, exactly a week ago, a group of people came here. Now we know that we should have extra budgetary allocation, what we call earmark funds, which maybe you have to take a loan or we do something. We send people came here. People are now knocking at our doors that they want to come and finish this. You see, if you want any loans or anything to finish this building, because the building is already about 60% complete, it becomes difficult because anybody who is coming to bring money wants to bring his own contractor. But this is a group, about 2 sets of people who have come, and they have come to have a look only last Tuesday. I'm not too sure if they passed through the administration. But I'm aware because I'm in Accra and I know what is going on. So what I want to
take it that, Kojo, just before you come in, do I take it that there was a break from 2009 until very recent because there was a change in administration? I know you don't want to go there, but can I just stay there for a while?
To be honest, I think it's actually a pity, Mama V, that we are making that the problem? The issue.
Yeah, let me tell you something. In 2009, there was supposed to be a 10 million from National Health Insurance Authority.
$10 million?
10 million Ghana cedis to continue with this building. I was here till September, August when I left.
2009, same year.
2009, same
okay.
year. I don't believe the money came. And then later on in 2013 or so, there was part of the oil money, which we call ABFA money, which was supposed also to have been used to also continue, maybe complete this building. I don't think it came. So as I sit here, I can tell you that I have not seen any serious work on this building since the change of government in 2000. That's why I'm telling you that, you say we shouldn't go there, but I'm telling you that we are so committed, because I'm part of it, the system. We are so committed as a Ministry of Health to complete this building. I'm just from budget here, a budget meeting only on last Saturday. We are going to put in money to complete this building, because let me tell you something. If you have this building from 1974 when the sword was cut up to today, and we are not using the building to save lives, as the man and the woman came here to say that because of congestion, there's infection, there's cross-infection, all these things, then there's no return on investment, period.
Dr.
So Ghana government, we are putting in money.
We have to hear from some of our other guests.
We are putting in money
but just
without
before
any
we
returns.
move on to the next guest, the one final thing I want to check is this. While you were CEO here, how many babies were dying a day?
I can't tell you because it's 9 years now.
Yes,
but what I can tell you, that's how I say that babies dying is not only the structure. Babies dying is a whole holistic.
Yes, I think we've made the point that this will not solve the problem entirely.
Yeah,
but what I want to know is whether or not there was a problem at the time.
Yeah, that's the reason why we decided to put this up this building.
I think we can agree that since 1974, no government has done enough to solve the problem.
At least they haven't finished it.
So let's move on. Let's move on to the next.
No, I think if you take it in that way, I will not totally agree with you.
Then it starts
but the building is not complete.
Then it starts to become a political conversation. And we will not have a political conversation about this. This is about babies dying.
I'm not doing politics, but you know that I'm also representing a ministry. What I'm saying is that babies are dying. But what I will tell you that within some period of time, there was commitment to finish this building.
And you see, that's also another challenge.
But we cannot use the whole budgetary allocation to come and then finish this building at one time. That's the reason why we are going extra budget.
I think for ordinary people like myself, ministers change, but the ministries don't change.
Yes.
So the thing is, if there's commitments and everybody is on that page, because the directors at the ministries don't change, everybody knows that this is the direction that we're going. But we abandoned the project for such a very, a long time, and apparently it's all because there's a change in administration.
We're going to have to come back to this. Pardon me. We will come back to that, Dr.
We'll come back to you.
But we have to hear from our other guests.
Yes,
so
we do.
Let's invite Professor Archer Turpin. Of course, he's the head of department at OBS and Gynae here at Komfo-Anokye, and of course at the School of Medical Sciences here at KNUST. Now, Professor Turpin, we've seen the documentary. We've heard from some of the patients who have been through this particular situation. But I want to understand, what percentage of these babies are dying because of a lack of space? And what percentage would have died anyway?
Well, I think the point has been made clear that this building not being completed is impacting negatively, both on child health and maternal health. Now, certainly babies are dying because of lack of space, and mothers are also dying to some extent because of lack of space. Now, let me take it from the perspective of my department, which is obstetrics and gynecology. Now, we have congestion in all the wards. Right from A1, we have 5 wards, right from A1 to A5. A5 serves as line-in ward for antenatal cases as well as labor and delivery. A4 serves as line cases for antenatal cases. A3 is the gynecology ward. A2 and A1 is also the line-in for mothers who have delivered and hypertensive disorders of pregnancy. Now, aside that, we see this congestion also in the labor and delivery and in the operating rooms. Now, let me dwell a little more on the labor and delivery and operating rooms. Now, we come to duty.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you very clearly. So if you're able to come closer, thank you so much. If you can come closer to the microphone,
when we are
thank
on
you.
Duty, the doctors are there for 24 hours. And in each team, we have about 4 or 5 consultants, senior specialists, and specialists who operate. Now, because this is a major referral center, sometimes we are overwhelmed with the number of cases on hand. About 5 or 6 cases need to be operated at the same time. Now, we have only 2 theater rooms and 2 theater tables. What happens? Only 2 operations can go on at a time. The rest have to wait till those 2 take their turn, and then the others are filled in. Whilst in actual fact, if we had enough space, all the 5 or 6 cases, all things being equal, could be done at the same time, and the patients will get well and get better and in the best condition. Now, this also spills over to the recovery ward. Again, the recovery ward is also very small. You have only 2 beds, one for the nurses who are doing the monitoring of the patients, and then one for the patient who has been operated upon. So what happens? We see this congestion there. Now, when you go to the labor and delivery, the same story. Now, according to the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists and the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, now the standard space that must be allocated or allotted to a mother in labor is about 16 square meters. It's about 16 square meters. Now, what are the privileges? When you have such specification, it means that there will be enough space for mothers to labor. Their spouses could even join them, offer tender loving care, reassurance, and certain decisions their spouses should be factored in and to effect good decision and prompt decision making. But we don't see it here. Our labor ward, from that specification, our labor ward should take just about 3 or 4 beds, but now we have 8 beds. So it means that there's lack of privacy, and it doesn't augur well for our patients. But we could go on and on with the impact, the negative impact of congestion in our department. Now, we are talking about patients alone. Let's talk about staff. Staff are on duty for 24 solid hours. You also need enough space to take a rest. When you're on duty on weekdays, it is 24 hours. On weekends, it is 48 solid hours. You also need space to take a rest. We need space to keep equipment. We need space to keep consumables and what have you. But because of lack of space, some of these things are lacking. So one could go on and on to talk about the benefits that one will get if we have completion of this building. We could go on to education.
Can I just cross-check just before you move on? Is both theaters functioning?
Yeah, they are both functioning.
Okay.
At the time the documentary was made, only one of them was functioning due to a fault.
Yeah, fine.
Okay. So I want to question the actual quality of obs and gynae care that you are able to deliver under these conditions before we move on to
under the conditions, the circumstances, I would say that our doctors, nurses, and midwives are doing their best. Now, when you look at it from the angle of maternal mortality, now there's a whole hue and cry about maternal mortality in Ghana. But I can tell you that in Komfanochi, maternal mortality ratio is dropping. I have the statistics to show you. It is dropping. And it is because of the multi-pronged approach that we have adopted. Now, we sat down with the periphery and we identified 19 facilities that brought us the most referrals. And we held what we call a workshop with them. And then we all came together as to how to address these issues. Following up on that, we assigned specialists and consultants to all these 19 districts, including Yeji, far off. So these specialists and consultants go there to offer service and help in the healthcare delivery of patients there. Apart from that, we also give effective feedback. When cases are brought, about 80% of the maternal deaths are from referral cases. And when we get such cases, we audit them. And when we need to give potent and cogent feedback to these referral centers, we do them.
But that's not strange because this is supposed to be a referral facility.
Yes.
You're supposed to be ready for that.
Yeah, these are the things that we are doing to bring down maternal mortality because people are talking about this place and that kind of thing. But the department members and the general is doing its best. So this is one of just a minute. Apart from the feedback, we also do in-house auditing. And we audit ourselves. Where we think that the standard of care was, for want of a better expression, maybe suboptimal, we quiz ourselves and we sit up and see how best we could manage these cases the next time. So these are the things that we are doing to bring down.
So can I get a little practical? When you hear Mr. Ansa share his story, Mrs. Arthur also share their stories, what would you have done differently today? Because you were saying that you learn from the experiences, the things that happen.
Yeah, what we do differently now is that we keep auditing ourselves. And as and when cases come, we audit and we learn from them. Even yesterday, we held a maternal mortality conference. We do it the first Monday of every month. And I can tell you for a fact that for the month of February, there were only 2 maternal deaths. And which we audited.
That's also because the numbers that are coming here have also reduced, right?
But I'm looking at it holistically. Relating it to the number of admissions. I'm not taking the numbers in isolation, but relating it to the number of admissions. So we audit ourselves, and we also do in-house cleaning, and then where we think we need to sit up, we do that.
Can I just, a very last one, what are your peak seasons? Because I understand there are certain periods when, the turnout is really high, when you have a lot of deliveries.
It depends, but on the whole, our delivery rate has gone down. On the whole, it used to be on the average about 12,000 per annum. I think in one of the years we had 14,000. But for last year, it was 8,884. Yes. So the delivery rate is going down. And then I think that the periphery is also it's up and about. They're also doing their best to help us in that direction. Thank you very much.
Now, I want to speak to Professor Emmanuel Adiobo. He's the head of the Department of Child Health here at Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital and, of course, at the School of Medical Sciences, KNUST. Now, Prof. Adiobo, nice to see you again. Pardon me, sorry. Of course, now, Prof, I'm particularly curious about these babies put 4 in an incubator. For the layman, if you put 2 babies in an incubator, have you not already defeated the purpose of the incubator?
Thank you very much, and good morning to the viewers. That is not even a question, it's a statement. If you put 2 babies there, you've gone over. You know, we shouldn't forget, one of the basic things we do besides providing health, ensuring that our babies are healthy, is to prevent cross-infection. So even the WHO is promoting that we should have infection prevention control policies, and we are on top of that. But space becomes the limiting factor. People come from home with their own set of bugs or microbes. And then you get another baby with his own set of microbes. Now again, medically, you build resistance and antibodies to the ones that you are used to. So if you are put next to a baby who is coming from a different environment, it is likely that you don't have antibodies that will control those infections. The other part is that babies get a lot of protection from their mothers. Once they come out, they face the real world. So they learn to build immunity to these bugs. So they are more susceptible to those infections. An infection that you and I may walk past and will just cause a shake or a shrug of the shoulders, the babies are going to show signs of infection. And I think I overheard something from the guy who was just saying, talking, that we discharged the baby, correct me if I'm wrong. Yes. He went home, and then he had to come back. There are a number of factors. He could have picked an infection from home, he could have picked an infection on the way home, or we say that we call something hospital-acquired infections, which theoretically, if you develop a fever 3 days after your encounter with the hospital, it is presumed that you pick that from the hospital. Now, it's very difficult to look at statistics because really you have to go into detail to find out what is the characteristics of the bug that suggests that
the baby died the same day they were discharged.
Well, it may be part of, I don't know what the underlying problem is or was, but it could also be part of the issues we have with the congestion. When you are seriously congested, you try to make space for more serious ones who are coming. Our principle for discharging is that we look at those, for instance, whose temperatures, if you have infection, whose temperatures are coming down, who can be managed by the mother at home, and sometimes we look at the home environment. For instance, a patient may be doing well, but we look at the social history and home environment and say we cannot discharge. Or another patient may be doing well, not as well as the first baby, but we think that with the educational background and the environmental factors, social factors, we can discharge. And often we discharge and say, go and come home. But you see, when you are in a rush to discharge and you take some of these decisions, that is where some of these errors would come. Because you would assume, you could imagine anything could happen. A baby who is convalescing, getting better, he's now beginning to eat, whatever. Maybe you go and you put him in a cot, you've just fed, and he throws up and he aspirates. Certainly that has nothing to do with us. But maybe you should have kept the baby a little longer to ensure that he's gone well beyond that stage where if there was a risk of aspiration, he could respond in a way. And babies' reflexes mature with age. The younger you are, the poorer they are, the older you are, the better they are. So that could be an accident. But if you have the space, you have the luxury of keeping them until we are really, really sure you can go home until we do it.
Prof, let me ask you this, and it's a rather personal question.
Yeah.
When you come to work and you see 4 babies in an incubator, and your training tells you that these babies are killing each other, do you feel a sense of hopelessness?
If I have to tell you, doctors cry. Do you believe that?
Well, you're human.
Yeah. You come to work, and at the end of the day, you cannot boast of one patient you saved. You will cry. Now, it's a perfect thing, but the thing is, in this environment, if you ask the mother to go, if you heard the errors of strikes, Some were agitating that we should close down. I mean, you can close down every place, but not MBU. Where are you sending them? You are asking them to go and die. Can you stand and do that? You can't do that. So, even where you have congestion, you have to, maybe I can do something. And that is the spirit with which we work. We've heard stories from other hospitals that they were trying to tell us that, no, if you don't have beds and whatnot, close the gates. Don't let them come in. Now, whose child should die? But we know that, yes, we are trying to catch so many balls at the same time. We will save some. We have the hope. If you had the space, we could do it. And sometimes, well, of course, we come praying, hoping that we can do the best. Sometimes, just by reorganizing ourselves a little, we can make a lot of difference. But sometimes in the process, you just can't do anything.
What's the situation right now? How many babies are sharing a cot?
It's variable. Somebody was asking about the peak periods. I normally would say that 9 months after Christmas, 9 months after Easter, after Valentine's Day and whatnot, yeah, these are the peaks that come. So sometimes, in an unfortunate day, I call it unfortunate, you go and find 2 beds, 2 patients in a bed, but in the worst scenario, we may have 3 or 4. Just because when they come and you see them, you know what they have. You know what you can do. You cannot say, go home, because you know they are going to die. And if you cannot save them, I mean, you should not be part of that decision that is going to, I mean, you know, by the, you nearly said something, you know that they are going to die. So certainly, you can't do that. You just cannot do that. And that is why we need the space.
I want to bring you in the conversation because I can certainly relate to your department. I have been there, just not Komfo Anokye. Dr. Ohenebo Wusudan, who is head of plastic surgery here at CAF. To think that somebody goes through CS and have to take the stairs, that's heartbreaking. How do you do that?
I mean, a very good morning to your listeners and your viewers. You know, in the past, we had problems with our life situations. And if a woman is supposed to be carried here, in fact, in situations, for instance, where we have had even women rush here because of the serious nature of the referrals that we get here, and some of them do deliver in their vehicles. Some of them will deliver downstairs, okay? And even for those who may have delivered and they have their babies, if the lift is not working, and you have to take those steps to about 2 floors upstairs or 3 floors upstairs, it's really a very big task for them, especially for those who may have had cesarean section and may have their stitches still in there. Like the woman who was talking about, she being referred from a private facility to come here, I think the second day post-operatively, and she had to come and follow up on the care of her baby. So it's very, very distressing. Very, very distressing, certainly.
Now, of course, as head of plastic surgery, you're part of the administration here at the hospital. Mr. Ansah asked a question. He wondered why the hospital hasn't perhaps committed internally generated funds to this. What's the reality of that situation?
Well, I can tell you that, I mean, for internally generated fund to fund this project would be something of, I would say, asking for too much. Because I think we live in a myriad of challenges for the health sector. The funding is not adequate. The IGF, which is the Interdgenerated Fund, is also a challenge because there are so many problems that you have funding to task or to target at. Okay, I have said that in the current situation where you're analyzing the maternal and child health problem, I want to look at it from a very economic and, let me say, quality care perspective. Economically, I think that we have very big missed opportunities that we have to look at. Because if you came to my department and you look at the number of surgeons that we have there, for lack of space and the way we do our surgical schedules, a surgical team has 1 opportunity in a week to operate, for instance. That's a huge lost economy that you can never recover. And it's all because of the lack of space. You know that in the previous government, as Dr. Chancellor stated, you know, in the 8 years of President Kufuor, President Kufuor did so well to build this ultramodern accident emergency center. I'm sure if Chief was to come back to analyze, he will realize that the purpose for which the accident center was put up and the current usage is defeatist. And I think it's something that we have to look. And all these myriad of challenges can be addressed to the lack of space. Because over there, we are looking at a maximum of 48 hours. Within 24 hours, if patients who have suffered any injuries or any shock situations from accidents, when they are managed and we think that they are out of the critical situations, they are supposed to be sent to the ward. So the situation about space, or the problem about space, is not just the maternal and child health. But critically, we see this as a huge project that once those key departments move out of the main hospital or the major blocks, it will create further space for the other disciplines so that we do not encumber. In fact, in terms of quality care, it does really affect us negatively at the accident and emergency because of lack of space. More often than not, you have mass accidents come in. And at the time the critically ill patients arrive, you have just about 4 or 5 vacant beds to take care of them. What do you do? And like Professor Ariwo said, in certain situations, you have to just do reviews upon reviews, and just to find a way of discharging patients who, under normal circumstances, you will not wish to discharge, because there are no beds on the wards.
And I can imagine that sometimes you would have to discharge somebody who's just done CS, because you're looking at new cases and you're looking at those that you think you can.
It does happen. In fact, for my unit in particular, we have a huge challenge with the care for burn patients. Burn patients usually has a long duration stay in our facility, and we are so encumbered that for the D2C area, where we have patients who have recovered from the critical area, we have a maximum of 7-8 beds there. And I have always said that when we are analyzing the situation of Komfo as it is now, we must situate it upon the location of the hospital as it is now. So centrally located in the country, and we have about 8 regions, almost even 9 regions, all of them referring cases to Komfo. It is one of the key challenges that as authorities, as government, and as a country, this is not a political discussion, we must all look at and say, until we are able to develop the regional hospitals and maybe some other peripheral hospitals to the zenith of care, to make sure that they will do the utmost without doing any referrals, then Komfo is going to bear the brunt of all these referrals. And if you have a burns patient coming in who is going to stay for about 1 month, 2 months, some of them are even staying for 4 months, where do you put them? Because we have only 8 beds to care for them beyond the emergency care. So certainly creating more space in the main hospital with the completion of these key projects is very, very critical for quality of care and even the lost opportunities in our economy, because we need to generate more income, as you have said, because elsewhere in other jurisdictions, government may not have been required to even come in with the kind of funding we are talking about. The hospital will have its own economic development plan, their own project development plan, such that their incomes will be enough to service some of these projects.
Okay. Now, in a while, we'll go to our audience who are here with us at Komfo Teaching Hospital in the Oncology Car Park to hear some of their views. But we promised you a conversation that would lead to solutions. Yeah. So I want us to do a little bit of that before we bring our audience
just before
in
that,
as well.
I'm a mother, so I just want to ask Dr. Adroye, but where do you keep the dead babies? Is it still same place if you're privileged enough to use the nurse's washroom? Is it same point where you meet the dead babies?
We've created, if space is a problem, it's difficult to get the optimal place for that. But we've created a secluded place for the babies, and for the dead babies. And one of the things we have instituted is, as soon as possible, they are removed, to the mortuary, so that people don't see those things and it doesn't become a main feature, of the wards. But if you have no places for the living, excuse that example, sometimes a bit, what word should I use? To create space for the dead, isn't it? But I know that, of course, dead or alive, those beings are precious to their parents. So the argument is different when you are speaking to the one whose baby is alive as compared to the one who is dead. Yeah.
Okay, now we'll hear more from our panelists in a moment. But first, of course, this is the special AM show and Super Morning Show collaboration coming to you live on the JoyNews channel and on Joy 99.7 FM. This trip to Kumasi was sponsored by Macaulay Money Lending and also by Golden Tulip Kumasi City Hotel. Now, the average person will sit about 75,000 hours in their working life, and there are some health risks attached to that. If you sit still for so long, it's bound to affect your back. But thank goodness for Afrodan, they do have a solution for you. It's called the Nightingale Extreme Comfort Chair. It has over 10 thoughtfully engineered features, all especially customized for your health and comfort. You've never had work feel this good, I can assure you. So go to Afrodan. They're on the first floor of the Swansea Shopping Arcade. Go and feel this chair for yourself. You will be amazed. And of course, Afrodan sponsors text messages on the Super Morning Show. Now listen, your preferred bank, Societe Generale Ghana, has brought in a new innovation. It's their mobile bank. Basically, it's a van fitted with an ATM. They can come to your workplace and provide you with all kinds of services, including opening accounts, making loan requests, making inquiries about their products and services, and of course, using that ATM. So find out more by calling 0302-214-314 or going to societegenerale.com.gh today. Alternatively, you can just go to the nearest branch. Now, here's some great news for DSTV users. Fantastic price reductions are available, not just on the setup, which has been reduced from 299 cedis to 249 cedis, but on the packages, where they've added more channels but reduced the prices. So, for example, the Big Premium now has 8 new HD channels, but it's down from 395 cedis to 365 cedis. That's business unusual with DSTV. Right, let me tell you a little bit more. Speak Out on the Super Morning Show will be done by our live studio audience here, Seth Kwame Boateng, who is the man behind the Next to Die special assignment, will be speaking and engaging with our live audience here at the Komfo Teaching Hospital. Speak Out on the Super Morning Show is brought to you by Save More, Ghana's largest discount shopping mall. Shop at Save More for unbelievable deals. Right, now, I believe there's more. We'll talk about that later. But just before Seth starts to engage our audience, I wanted us to look at some potential solutions very quickly. And also, Dr. Oheneba Owusu-Danso wanted to make an intervention. But first, I wondered, Dr. Nsiasare, this is a suggestion, and I'd love for you to tell me how realistic or otherwise, it may be. We heard from Mr. Owusu-Ansah that the reason why he was referred here on 2 occasions was because his wife went into labor at midnight. She went to the local hospital, the district hospital, and there was no doctor. That was the reason why she was referred to Komfo Anokye. Not because she had some unique condition that required some specialist attention. Now, this clearly must contribute hugely to your situation of the overcrowding here. So I'm wondering whether the Ghana Health Service cannot look at perhaps assigning some of the experts here who, I mean, no matter how skillful they are, simply cannot save everyone because there's not enough space, assigning them certain district hospitals as their responsibility. They can go there once, twice a day, do those extra hours to reduce the numbers that are simply coming here because there's no doctor at the district level. Would that work?
Yes, it will work. In fact, it's something that Ghana Health Service at the headquarters we discussed yesterday. I believe that a consultant should not be a consultant in Komfo Anokye alone. Then when Professor Tepi was speaking, he said that he have only 2 tables. So our thinking now, that's what they are sending to Ghana Health Service. We are coming to make sure that if you're a consultant, you can be a consultant in about 2 or 3 different hospitals. You do 4 hours here, you do 2 hours here, you do 3 hours here.
And you'll pay them more for this, won't you?
Yes, when you work, that's my belief. When you come and give service to my hospital, you bring some small internal generated funds. Why shouldn't we share? I believe in creating and sharing.
But not looting.
And not looting. But you see, so that's the first thing we are going to do. Luckily, it has even already started. Now there is funding, which is being supporting this thing. We have what we call MCHIP, Maternal Child Health Nutrition Program. We have MAF, Millennium Development Goal Accelerated Framework. We all have money. Where we are now, the same consultants have now gone around. They are training people in maternal and child health, how to do cesarean sections, how to look after newborn babies. Because I think we created a newborn baby center at Chirapatre, and we are hoping that there will be a lot of newborn babies all over the place. And the consultant from here goes there once a while to go and have a look. And to me, that's what Ghana Health Service is coming to now sit down with the teaching hospitals, and then we give appointments, proper appointment, that you are a consultant here, you give 2 hours, you give maybe half a day. Because you see, if you are a surgeon here, Sometimes you come on operate only once a week. You have only one table. The rest of the days, you do a ward rounds and clinic. 2 other days, what the person is doing. You can go to Tafu Hospital, can go to Mankransu Hospital, and then you bring quality care to the doorsteps of the people. They will not rush here because they know that a baby needs attention. They can take a phone and even call Professor Aduyobo, and he'll give instruction before, if it's necessary, he goes there. That's exactly what Ghana Health Service, under my leadership, will be doing.
So when will we see the start of this?
Start immediately.
And I hope we won't have issues with allowances
being
released on time.
No, you see, every doctor, I'm a clinician. I see patients. I'm very happy when I see a patient that I've seen. The following morning, I see him up and has survived. That's the joy. It's not the money aspect.
But when the
That's
medical association takes an action?
When medical association takes an action, medical association maybe will like, you see, we are going to interact with medical association. I'm sure every doctor in the medical association will buy into this consultancy program because they go and do locums in private hospitals where they don't have half the facilities that they have in district hospital. I once went to Bekwai Hospital. When I went there, a whole medical ward of 24, there were 4 patients. You come to Konfanochi Accident Center, patients cannot go home. So why can't you see the patients here? After 24 hours, they are moved from the accident center. They go to the ward. After 3 days, they are okay. They are moved, referred properly, back referral, back to the Bekwai Hospital, and then you tell the patient that come and see me after 2 weeks. That's exactly what is going to happen under my watch in Ghana Health Service.
Am I getting that you can't quite assure that the allowances will be on time?
I'm assuring you, when you drive your car and you go there, you'll be paid allowance. You'll be fed and you'll be given everything.
By who? Is it the hospital that's hosting you?
By the hospital, because you have the hospital generates funds. I believe that if you see one patient and you have one doctor, your trouble is small. If somebody sees 20 patients and have 2 doctors, his trouble is different. So there is big and bigger ones.
Can we just pretend that your boss is not here? Is this something that you're confident in?
No, let me conclude. You see, I've run a hospital before. When you are running a hospital, all what you have to do is to do budgetary controls.
Let's hear from the doctors, those who will be affected by this.
I think critically, these things can be done because see, if you look at the economic even analysis, for me as a surgeon, for here, even as we talk about child health, we have only one ward that serves for child surgeries, okay? And all kinds of cases are mixed up there. You have pediatric surgery patients, plastic surgeons, have their own patients there. And we have other illnesses of surgical implications which are also kept in there. What it means is that for about our 40-bed capacity, one ward, that take care of all the surgical considerations for children, you have not less than about 20 to 30 surgeons, all of them working within this environment. And like I've said, they have just one in a week opportunity to operate. Other opportunities is that there are even patients who are kept in this environment who should not be kept there. If patients are coming in with elective surgeries, very clean surgeries, they are not supposed to be mixed up with cases that can actually cause infections to other patients. And they are all mixed up there. That is a very big economic and clinical challenge. And then because of all these challenges, most of the patients there are many patients we are receiving through the emergency area. What it means that for us as surgeons, we are losing a lot of opportunity in operating on patients who are coming with elective surgeries. So clearly, like Dr. Nsiasari is saying, if those opportunities are created, and I'm a surgeon here, and I don't have the space to operate on patients whose ailments are such that they will require just day surgeries or clean surgeries that can be taken care of in the other catchment areas, why not? I can go in there and operate. And I think the funding aspect should not be a challenge. Luckily enough, even though our premiums may not be the best to talk about, almost every patient going to hospitals now is supposed to be paid for, either by private insurance, National Health Insurance Authority, or by true direct cash payment.
We heard a father who had to pay 80% of his bills.
So if I come in there and I generate whatever for you, we should be able to have a policy to regulate these things, so that everybody who moves out of his station should be taken care of, because there's a certain internally generated money coming in because of your presence in that particular facility.
Okay, I think Dr. Aduyobo wanted to add on.
Yes, I wanted to add to what Dr. Nsiasari was saying. In this hospital, apart from the external problems, you have an internal problems. And one of them is to have the required numbers of personnel to meet
the case load that we have. So once we...
I must apologize for
Yes.
cutting in. I'm being prompted that it's exactly time for us to put out a little bit of information, and then we'll come back for the rest of your submission. So right now I need to tell you, if you're listening to us, that for quality and affordable houses, Cohen's Estates is the solution. They have serene environments and very affordable land. Listen, call them on 0554-930-774 or go find them at Kuntunse Satellite near Amasaman or in Pampaso near Nsawam. Right, let me also tell you that Busy is ready for you with a massive celebration of Ghana 60 years on. They're giving you amazing offers, including 15 gig for free when you buy a Busy 4G MiFi for just 149 cedis. And then, of course, you can enjoy the special Ghana at 60 bundle, which offers you 12 gigabytes for only 60 Ghana cedis. Let's celebrate Ghana at 60 together by making good things happen. Busy, making good things happen. Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority wants you to be aware that withholding taxes must be paid to the Domestic Tax Revenue Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority by the 15th of every month. And did you know that withholding taxes deducted from employment, payment for the supply of the use of goods, payment for the supply of any works, and payment for the supply of services and all other withheld taxes for February 2017 will be due by the 15th of March 2017. So pay all withheld taxes on due dates, or payment should be made with an accompanying schedule in both hard and soft copies, indicating gross amount, the tax deducted, and the names of taxpayers from whom the taxes were withheld. Please note, failure to pay tax on due date attracts an interest of 125% of the statutory rate, compounded monthly on the outstanding tax. All right, so please listen to the Commissioner General and get your affairs in order. Now, we're so proud of Kingdom Books and Stationery. After 30 years in the stationery business, they are now offering a 30-day credit facility with no interest charge. So they'll deliver the goods bought free of charge within Accra, Tema, and surrounding towns. Why don't you ring them on 0302-764-101 to learn more. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, your #1 stop for all office essentials, stationery, and furniture. Now listen, if you're a parent, pause for a minute and ask yourself, what kind of parent am I? Irrespective of your answer, self-introspection is needed to ensure that you're effectively playing your role in your child's development in all aspects. Now, be a part of the Maiden Parent Peer Support Platform Seminar at the Lizzie's Complex in East Legon on Saturday, April 1. From 10 a.m. Speakers will be Notidua, clinical psychologist, Kateki Sheth, who is the regional manager of Learning Time, Regina Hono, the CEO of Sronkon Academy, and Richard Akita, CEO of Launchpad. Topics range from the do's and don'ts of parenting, the 0 to 8 child to parenting styles, and how they affect the child. And of course, there will be a mini exhibition of children's products and learning materials. The date, again, Saturday, April 1, 2017 at Lizzie Sports Complex, East Legon. And attendance is free. So for inquiries, call 0507-338118. You can also visit ppsfghana.com or send an email to peer.parenting@yahoo.com. Right, so we're going to continue listening to our guest very briefly before we join our audience, because Prof, you were completing a point, weren't you?
Yes, I was trying to talk about the human resource planning and distribution. We have requested for staff based on the projected patient load, and that is not even to provide the optimum doctor-patient ratio. So the argument that it is good to send people outside is good. But for us in child health, we think of what happens when the person has left. Because child health, unlike the other disciplines, babies don't talk. You need to observe them. You need to look at critical things. Sometimes there are subtle things that only the specialist can perceive. Now you have to train people. So if you are not there, I mean, we've been involved in the math programs. It is yielding results, and there's a history to that. I'm trying to make it short.
Please, yes.
But while trying to look at the congestion, we found that need to move out. But you can only move out for a limited time because you are leaving people unattended to. Now, can you imagine where we have, 15, 20, 30 admissions per day, and it's all left in the hands of, say, junior staff because the specialist is out there? You will still record mortality.
No
and when
doubt.
people die, who are they blaming?
Good question. Well, let's go to our audience. Seth Kwame Boateng has been interacting with our live audience here at Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, and they have lots to share. Seth, what's the latest?
Thank you, Kojo and Mamavi. I have quite a number of people with me here. at the oncology car park where we're having this program. And there is a retired nurse here. Ma'am, what's your name?
My name is Ife Saba Akwa.
And how old are you?
I'm 65 years.
And you said you were a student when this building was the cut, sort was cut for this to start.
Yes, I was in second year doing midwifery in 74 when the sword was cut.
And you served for how many years before retiring?
I worked for 36 years. I started work at 76 and then finished as 2012. I've gone home for 5 years.
The building is still here?
Yeah, building is still uncompleted because we were all excited when the building was about to come up, and yet I didn't work in that place and went home. So when I see it, I become very upset.
You may probably come back as a contract nurse when it's completed.
By 5 years, I've done my part. I can't work again.
Thank you very much. Another gentleman here. What's your name, sir?
My name is Tony Odro.
And you have been listening to the conversation. What's your take?
I think that I'm very happy for today, what is going on. At least it gives the sense that there's an urgency with this project that needs to come on, because for me, when the project started, I was about 1 year old, and still I've come to meet it. I'm working here, and still the project is not complete. It saddens my heart.
So what do you make of suggestions that have come up?
I think they are very good, but where I also join them in solving this problem is that it's not, we can't also limit it to only the building, that maybe when the building is completed, all our problems concerning these mortalities will be solved. There are other things that also come in.
Thank you. Let's also move to another man here. What's your name, sir?
I'm James Munisagra.
Okay. You have also been monitoring what your bosses have been saying. What do you make of their suggestions, and what suggestions do you also have?
That's laudable. I think that's a good move. I want to add that I work in this facility, and sometimes it's frustrating when you go to the place and then because of congestion, you don't have space to deliver the acquired things that you are supposed to deliver. And I think that maybe we may have to go an extra mile to ensure that this building is completed so that we can save a lot of souls.
Okay. And the former CEO, Dr. Nasari, is promising that they're going to finish this project, and he's now the Director General of Ghana Health Service. What do you make of his assurances?
Well, we will all be happy if this project is finished, because we've seen a lot of congestion in the wards and all that. But we just hope that it's not going to be like the typical Ghanaian thing where we make a lot of noise and after some time it just dies off and that is it. So that is what we pray doesn't happen. So we pray that they help, all those stakeholders, those who can help, also help us to finish this project.
In your own small way, how can you help us sustain this campaign?
Well, I think as the media has taken it up, we can also be calling in, we can also be making noise wherever we find ourselves.
You can contribute a little, right?
Hopefully, yes.
5 cedis each, or?
Whatever we can, we will do it, yeah.
Thank you very much. Let me also speak to you. I've also been part of the show. You've been listening to the conversation that we've having. Have you seen the documentary in any way?
Yes, please. I saw it yesterday.
Okay. And after seeing that and hearing what leaders are saying, what do you make of the two? How do you combine the two, and what do you take?
It's pathetic seeing that or learning that 4 babies die every day. Averagely, 4 babies die every day because, and then all of them are avoidable deaths, most of them. Now, come to think of it, I think now it's very good that the media is taking this up. We should all rise as a nation and then find wherever the money is, even if we should raise it individually to complete this building, it will help all of us, and then the children unborn.
Your name again is?
Osei Karim Echamfo.
Osei Karim is asking, Doctor, Osei Karim is suggesting we all contribute something little. Are you willing as a doctor working in this hospital to do that?
Yes, obviously this is the only center that we have subserving the whole of the northern sector for babies, particularly for babies. So if my wife should deliver, they should any complication, this is the very place that she will have to come and the baby will be seen. And the place has not changed since I started working there. My last time I was there was about 5 years ago, till I saw the documentary yesterday. Nothing has changed. Probably just shifted some courts around, but nothing has changed. The problem has to do with congestion. So any way that congestion should be relieved should be done. If it means that this building should be finished within the shortest possible time, I really think so. If by the end of the year we give ourselves smart targets, we finish certain parts and move our babies there to expedite quality care, I think it should be done. We should stop the politicization and move away, bring in the political leaders, the traditional leaders. We should all come, join hands so that we can finish this project. I mean, 43 years is too long for a building to still be standing uncompleted.
Do you agree with him? Your name?
Yes, my name is Douglas Kusi, and I agree absolutely with him. But, you know, before I even say anything, I think that if there was ever a project that Joy FM has done that needs commendation, I think that this is one of the projects. I think it's so important because, you know, health, they say, is wealth. So if as a nation we are not getting our health right, then we are getting everything wrong. I mean, notwithstanding the economy that we want to build and all that, if we don't have a healthy, you know, nation, then I think that in fact, everything will go down to the drain. So I think that, in fact, this is a very important project that Joy FM you are embarking upon. And I think that we need to commend you. In fact, you know, sitting back, I watched the documentary yesterday, and also sitting back and listening to what is going on, all right. In fact, the question I ask myself is, as a nation, are we getting our priorities right? You understand? And if you ask my personal opinion, I think that, I mean, it's not. You understand? It appears that we are not investing our money, you know, at the right place. You understand? And I think that health, if you ask me, probably if I mean.
Right. Well, actually, you are still listening to the Super Morning Show, and the AM show is what you're watching on Joy News channel. But of course, Joy 99.7 FM is bringing you more quality programming now. So we want to say a thank you, a very big one, for listening to us since morning on the Super Morning Show. We've got a few messages that we'll be sharing with you on TV from those of you who have been interacting with us. But for now, we want to say a big thank you for staying tuned to Joy 99.7 FM. We have another live show from this same location tomorrow morning. Make sure you don't miss it, because there's so much more to discuss as we start to delve into the solutions to this horrific problem. My name is Kojo Yankson. I'm the morning man. You've been hearing Mama V Owusu Abuaje from the AM show as well. Stay with Joy 99.7 FM for more quality programming.
In its state as it is, and as a public health professional, my interest is to see pregnant women come and go home safe, is to see children sick and being discharged home. And then, of course, we cannot quantify the loss of a child or of a mother in any way. So every means possible to get this building to be completed.
What do you suggest? What can you also do to help?
Well, I'm suggesting that we find alternative way of financing.
Like what?
Like, for instance, we can charge each and every one a peso for talking, let's say, 1 minute on any of the telecommunication networks, and that will, for me, yield some reasonable income for this important cause.
Are they going to charge those in Ashanti rate, you know, the whole of the country?
Exactly. This is a policy issue. This is a policy issue. For instance, we know that Konfanochi takes referral from almost everywhere in Ghana. Okay, so the call for telecommunication as a source of financing obviously will benefit everybody at all, regardless of where you stay. Definitely, there will be the need to bring you to Konfanochi if the need arises.
The gentleman has come back saying he hasn't finished. What do you have to add?
Yes, I'm thinking that, you know, looking at the publicity that we're giving it to, you know, this project, and look at the kind of passion that the public is expressing about it and all that. In fact, I have no doubt that it will be completed within, you know, schedule, if you like, maybe schedule time. And I think that it has to be completed, because if you look at the problems that mothers, you know, babies are going through and all that, I think it's an indictment on all of us. So I think that all of us, we need to, but you were asking whether if we are asked to contribute. Are you talking about staff or
Ghanaians?
Oh, why not? I think it's a good thing. And probably may not be directly contribution from Ghanaians and all that. We can levy, you know, put in some levies on some of these things and all that. And I think it can go a long way to finish this one. And probably even start another projects and all that.
Okay, so could you, Mamavi, probably you also have to tell us how much you're willing to contribute and what levies we can put on some of the things we enjoy using. What do you think? Okay, let me also come to you. You were earlier on the show, you wept, you all saw, and you've been listening to them, the suggestions that have come up. What do you make of the suggestions?
Yeah, I agree with everything that they have said. I agree with everything that they have said. The government should be responsible. It should set their priorities right. I mean, money should be allocated for such funds. Now they are trying to do one district, one factory. It's not a bad idea. What if they invest into this as well? I mean, what needs to be done must be done. It shouldn't politicize everything. And my last word is that I was a guest on the show. Like I said, I had an issue and I was referred to Confanoche. Magazine Clinic, the management should be very careful. You wouldn't believe that the thing happened in 2009. My child is 7 and he will be 8 in August. Since that time, not even a single member of the hospital has called to find out if the baby survived or not. The doctor who was in charge also works here. I met him 3 years ago and I confronted him and said, "Doctor, you didn't do, at least should have called to find out how the baby was doing." So if such incidents happen, it is just nice. I could have taken them on, and they should not forget that they shouldn't think that they took me for a song. I will come back again. Yes, they will hear from me.
Terminator 1, she's coming back. Okay, let's also hear from you. What's your name?
I'm Dan Anand Frimpong. A doctor in specialist training at the Department of Child Health, Confanoche Teaching Hospital.
And you have also been monitoring the discussions we're having.
Yes, I have. And I'm very grateful that multimedia had actually taken on this project. And I think that is bringing it to the attention of the general public to know that there's an abandoned project at Confanoche that's supposed to take care of maternity cases as well as children and newborn. I think that, like the president said during the independence celebration, we've lost, we have no excuses at this point in not completing this project. And I think that we need the political commitment to get it done, to decongest the MBU and then the maternity wards.
Thank you very much. So we had these people who joined us here and their suggestions. So Kojo and Mamavi, you can take over from me. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the producer of this documentary that we're all talking about, Next to Die. And we thank you for watching the AM show. We will hand over to News Desk. That will take over at 10:30. But we're also receiving your messages. We know that you've been sending lots of messages via our social media handle. So we're going to take time and read a couple of them. This one from Saito Check says, "I can't continue to listen to this. I want to throw up." This one from Ray Wilson says, "I lent Cath deduct a building fund component from their workers' pay slip. If it is true, why can't they use this fund to complete the building?" Is there something like that?
True.
Okay. This one says, "My goodness, meaning 32 newborns die within a week at the nation's second biggest hospital. Then what happens at the minor ones?" That's from Justice Walker June. And this one says, "My God, why should this happen in Ghana? Our leaders should sit up. Mr. Ansah, sorry for your loss. I'm in tears this morning." That's from Enchi AJ. And I hope this documentary and public discussions will move us people to set our priorities right. That's from Nana Wuswansan. That'll be the message that I will take. Kojo, I know that you have a couple as well.
Yes, I'll add a few. This one is from Harold Adefiu. He says, "Seth Kwame Boateng did a great job on this revelation and the government should focus on completing the facility to reduce maternal mortality." Nana Kwame Opoku says, "CEOs have come and gone, but management has turned a blind eye. Buying four-wheel drives. Do we have a conscience?" That's the opinion of Nana Kwame Opoku. "Scary revelations on Joy SMS. In fact, our leaders have failed us." That's how Jalal Seidu is feeling this morning. And finally, a message from F. Darfor, who says, "Listening to a father losing 2 babies at Confanoche and having a third almost dying, sobbing on live radio is heartbreaking." And I think we all know how he feels. At this point, I think all we can do for now is say a big thank you to our panelists who have enlightened us this morning. We can promise you even more from them and others who will be joining us tomorrow as we start to dig into the solutions to this problem. We came here for a reason, Mama B, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we will make sure that by the time we leave, it is clear how we are going to stem the flow of death at Konfanoche's mother and baby unit.
All right, so we want to say thank you to you, Dr. Anthony Nsiasari, who was one CEO of this facility, who's representing the Minister of Health, Dr. Kweku Ajiman Menu. We thank you for coming all the way from Accra to be with us. Professor Acha Tepeng is head of Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, and also the School of Medical Sciences here at KNUST. Professor Emmanuel Adoyobo is head of Department of Child Health, CAF, and the School of Medical Sciences, KNUST. Thank you, sir. And Dr. Ohinebo Wusudansu, head of Plastic and Surgery at CAF. We appreciate your time. Is the sun good for us? The sun is good for us, right?
All right, there's more tomorrow, but stay tuned to Joy 99.7 FM and the Joy News channel for even more on this evolving story as we continue to seek the solution to this flow of death, which obviously we cannot abide. So listen, stay with us tomorrow, another live show from this same location. My name is Kojo Yanks, and I'm so glad you were able to join us.
And my name is Mama Vio Usuabuaje. Stay on. Benis Abu Baidu is going to take over with News Desk.